Assalamu alaikum. A very good afternoon to all of you. I'm Sabahat, your host for today's event. It's an honor to welcome you all to this webinar where we will be discussing one of the burning issues. As all of you are aware that today's session has been scheduled to commemorate World Anti-Tobacco Day that's observed every year on May 31st to raise awareness on the harmful and deadly effects of tobacco. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, millions of tobacco users have taken a pledge that they will stop smoking, and that is the basis for the theme of 2021, that is commit to quit. In order to shed some light on this relevant issue, I have some panelists over here who are going to enlighten us about the causes, hazards, and measures of quitting this lethal tobacco. Now, most of us, I guess, don't know where this poisonous substance came from. And for that, I would like Huda of Class 11th Humanities to brief us. Over to Huda.
Good afternoon, everyone. Deadly cravings enclosing individuals in its pleasure, luring them into its trap, spreading its wings with each passing day, taking the oozing health away. This it has crippled down many families and brings shudders with its name. Tobacco, a member of the species of the plant of genus Nicotiana in the potato family, was named by Linnaeus in 1753 after the French ambassador Jean Nicot. Tobacco was first discovered by the native people of Mesoamerica and South America, and later introduced to Europe and the rest of the world. Christopher Columbus, an Italian explorer, reported a gift of strange dry leaves from a native of San Salvador, an island of Bahamas. It was seen that these leaves were being traded. These powdered leaves were inhaled in a Y-shaped cone or pipe known as tobacco. The leaves subsequently came to be known as tobacco. The word tobacco is also said to have come from the other sources, perhaps after the island of Tobacco in the West Indies. In the medieval era in Europe, it was believed that the tobacco protected and cured a long list of diseases, including toothaches. Hence, it gained social acceptance and respectability. In the 12th and the 20th century America, tobacco was said to relieve toothache, bleeding gums, preserve and whiten teeth, and prevent decay. The Portuguese traders introduced tobacco to the other parts of the world, including India. Here, tobacco smoking became a symbol of aristocracy with the introduction of hookah during the Mughal rule. In 1776, during the American Revolutionary War, tobacco helped finance the revolution by serving as a collateral for loans that America borrowed from France. Over the years, more and more scientists began to understand tobacco's constituents and came to the conclusion that it poses a great threat to the lives of the people. The member state of the World Health Organization created World No Tobacco Day in 1987 to draw global attention to the tobacco epidemic and the preventable death and diseases it causes. In 1987, the World Health Assembly passed the resolution WHA40. From saving people's lives to taking their lives, tobacco showed his ugly nature in the end. Thank you for listening patiently.
Thank you, Huda. Now, there are many terms related to smoking of which we are not aware. And I would now ask Mehnoor of class 11th to elucidate the word vaping used by most of the smokers. Over to Mehnoor.
Good afternoon, everyone. On the eve of World Anti-Tobacco Day, I am going to talk about vaping. People have been smoking for at least 7,000 years, but it wasn't until 1800 that it became a smoke of choice, after machines were developed to mass produce them. 200 years later, in 2003, China developed e-cigar, and since then, the use of e-cigars, also called as vaping, has grown exponentially around the world. Vaping is basically heating up liquid nicotine, a solution that's probably glycol and vegetable glycerin. The e-cigar creates a cloud vapor that looks like smoke smoke, but without a lot of the lethal components contained in tobacco smoke. Unfortunately, it took 7,000 years for humans to realize that tobacco causes cancer. E-cigars have only been around for a little over a decade, so there just hasn't been enough time to figure out what effects they will have on our body. So, and to our surprise, vaping is legalized in some parts of the world. Because for a smoker, it's maybe a less harmful way of taking in nicotine, and it's less harmful than tobacco. So here we conclude that if someone wants to get de-addicted, he or she can switch to vaping from smoking, which will decrease the harm and ultimately can quit the act. Now the question is, why does someone has to smoke, or why does someone has to vape? What tobacco does, it activates a chemical called dopamine in our brain that creates short-term pleasure, but it creates long-term wiring or rewiring of brain. I repeat, it creates long-term wiring or rewiring of brain. That leads to habit turning to compulsion, means you are taking it even if you don't want to take it. Now the question is, how about those who produce it? Do they smoke? Do they vape? Here are some actual documented quotes from tobacco executives. We don't smoke those cigars, we just sell them. We reserve the right to smoke for the young, poor, and the stupid. The base of our business is a high school student. So these were some actual documented quotes from the tobacco executives. So now it's your turn to decide if you have to continue harming yourself to benefit the tobacco executives. So the point I want you to leave with is that it's not as easy to do as it's to say. So concluding my speech, I can say that let us commit to quit, and let us also commit to help them quit. I hope what I said was worth your time. Thank you so much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Manur, for the information. Now, smoking leads to malaise, but a smoker is ready to suffer from this discomfort. And the question is, what makes him to embrace this discomfiture? To answer this stickler, may I invite one of my colleague, Ms. Shabina Taj, to throw some light. Over to Shabina.
Thank you, Sabahat ma'am. Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon to all of you. Smoking is a silent killer, but still people smoke. Why? I'd say there are a number of reasons. Firstly, peer group influence. During the preteen and teenage years, a child is asserting his or her independence and exploring an identity. It takes a social and psychological toll on this teenager to fit into the so-called cool society. A research conducted by the American Cancer Society shows that at least 9 out of 10 individuals turn into adult smokers before the age of 18 years. No matter how many times you tell a teenager how bad smoking can be, majority of them would still try it. That's why the younger you are when you start smoking, the higher is the chance of being addicted to nicotine. Now, peer group influence is not restricted to just teenagers. I believe we have adult individuals who smoke to fit within a workplace as smokers and create a sense of bond over smoke. By smoking, they want to earn a sense of camaraderie. Secondly, parental influence. Parental relationships are indispensable for proper grooming of a child. Therefore, whenever a child grows up at a place where he regularly comes across a smoking parent, there are increased chances of him or her starting smoking as compared to a child who's brought up by a non-smoker. Sometimes it's been seen that even if it is a non-smoker family, but they do not restrict a kid on certain negative aspects and unintentionally tend to show smoking as socially acceptable behavior, it may cause children to experiment with smoking too. So parents have to take the onus to inculcate, instill, communicate with the child and tell them how intolerable, unhealthy, and detrimental smoking is. Thirdly, media influence. The increased endorsement by media portrays smoking as glamorous through advertisements across our screen. It presents a smoker, as cool, more sociable, or perhaps even more attractive to a potential partner. This increases the adolescent's desire to smoke. A research that's conducted in Norway in 1975 showed that the prevalence of smoking in the long term was reduced to 9% when a ban on tobacco advertising was imposed. So, initiating more campaigns on how unacceptable smoking is can reduce smokers in future. Fourthly, some genetic factors. Again, a study has enunciated that codependency on drugs may be genetic, but that does not mean that a gene for addiction is passed down. Okay? It basically regards like how susceptible an individual can be to take up the habit of smoking. So definitely, if the pattern of addiction is verified within a family line, we may know where to direct our efforts to reduce the risk of tobacco addiction. Lastly, and most importantly, definitely, yes, stress factors. Ask anyone, why do you smoke? They'll say, I smoke cigarettes when I'm bored. I smoke cigarettes so that I can think. Do you know what is it? It's basically a quick escape from the reality they are in. It is a friend of their loud mind that they are trying to numb. Nicotine stimulates their brain to increase dopamine, but that provides short-term pleasure. So this nicotine becomes a chemical and a psychological crutch every time a high pressure situation arises. By eliminating such psychological reasons, they can give up smoking. Finally, I would conclude by saying don't make an ash of yourself because smokers don't grow old, they die young. Quit smoking and give life a chance. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shabina, for your views. Now, as Shabina has talked about teenage smoking, it has become a trend among teenagers nowadays that they have fallen victims to this killer. I would like Kamina of class 12 medical to apprise us about it. Over to Kamina.
Greetings, everyone. On the event of World Anti-Tobacco Day, I'll be focusing and speaking about smoking and tobacco consumption, etc., among teenagers and youngsters. The first most cause for teenagers being involved in smoking or tobacco consumption, e-cigarettes, vapes, hookahs, etc., is that these things are easily accessible to them. The only spreading awareness and talking about the ills of smoking and tobacco consumption to these youngsters won't help until we, as a society, pledge to change these things on the ground level. The sellers of such products are also the people from our own society, the people who see these teenagers smoking on streets or the teachers who know about it and act deaf and dumb are also the people from our own society who share the equal responsibility in this cause. Moreover, when we talk about tobacco consumption like hookah culture, vaping, or smoking, we mostly regard it to men and boys. But we need to understand that this topic should not be gender biased. With fancy alternatives of tobacco consumption coming into being, like e cigarettes, vapes, hookahs, etc., it's seen that more female folk are getting into such things. And pregnant women, in particular, need to refrain from such stuff as it increases the risk of getting the baby affected badly. So, this topic needs to be discussed and spread awareness about beyond gender. We as a society need not only to threaten the young people regarding the ills of tobacco consumption, but we have to take steps that would make smoking or tobacco consuming in any way not look cool. We have to get this embedded in their minds that not smoking, even if all of their friends do it, it will not make their friends look cool or make them any less cool. Instead, you'll look cool if you don't consume tobacco, as you'll be healthier and fit to do things. You will be cool if you are a non smoker because it'll reflect your decency. This generation is dealing with a lot of mental health issues, and many youngsters put up to smoking and tobacco consuming to get out of depression and escape out of anxiety and loneliness. And they think it's a cool way to do so. But if you fight these mental illness issues without getting into tobacco consuming in any way, it'll actually show that you're strong. Moreover, in these times when we are dealing with a pandemic which targets the respiratory tract, it would be most sensible and cool to commit to quit and to never try it at the first place, not even just for once, because it's once for all. So let's commit to quit, as dopamine isn't much cooler than adrenaline rush you get from the confidence of being fit and from the support of your loved ones. That was my time for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamina. Very well said that action speaks louder than words. Now, you must be aware about the term smoker's cough, or what you call chronic bronchitis. It's a term used clinically. And to update us, let me call upon Zanab of class 11th to brief us upon the term.
Good afternoon, everyone. So, what is smoker's cough? When we smoke cigarettes, cigars, and vapes, we inhale many chemical ingredients. These chemicals get stuck in our airway, and coughing is a natural way of clearing our airway. However, when a cough lasts for a long time after extended periods of smoking, it is known as smoker's cough. It tends to sound different than regular coughing. It includes wheezing and crackling noises associated with phlegm in our throat. It produces a wet, mucousy substance that can be clear, white, yellow, green, or even brown colored. It usually worsens in the morning when the person has just woken up. It is chronic in chain smokers. This is due to the presence of toxins in our lungs because of excessive smoking. A smoker's cough can be diagnosed on the basis of symptoms and history of smoking. It is important to see your doctor if your chronic smoking related coughs changes in any way, becomes more frequent, or is too uncomfortable, or even sounds different. Over time, smoker's cough can lead to hoarseness and chest pain and can be among the signs and symptoms of lung cancer. The best way to stop it is by giving up smoking. The cough can go away almost 3 months after cessation. The lungs are self-repairing organs, and smoking cessation will immediately begin the process. After a year, the risk of heart attacks and strokes drop by half, and that risk continues to drop each year thereafter. But this improvement is impossible unless we start to give up the deadly habit of smoking. Thank you.
Thank you, Zanab. Most of us are familiar with the fact that smoking causes emphysema, chronic bronchitis, asthma, and sometimes schizophrenia. Then what leads a smoker to fall in this death trap? The reasons are many. May I now invite one of my colleagues, Ms. Masuma, to share her views.
Okay.
Over to Ms. Masuma.
Thank you so much, Sabahat, and a very good afternoon to everybody. Well, we are already aware of like cigarettes, juuls, moths, e-cigarettes, vapors. All of these terms have been used and we know how harmful they are. So I'm just going to elaborate some points how smoking can actually affect our body. With each inhalation, smoke brings its 5,000 toxic substances in contact with our tissues. For example, tar, a black resinous substance, begins to coat our teeth and gums, attacking the enamel and finally causing tooth decay. Over time, smoke also damages the nerve endings in the nose and can cause loss of smell. Inside the airways and lungs, it causes a high risk of infections like bronchitis and emphysema. It does this by damaging the tiny hair structures called cilia, whose job is to keep the airways clean. It then fills tiny alveoli, the air sacs that are in our lungs, causing harmful toxic gases like carbon monoxide, to attach to hemoglobin, displacing the oxygen that would have transported to the body. That is primarily the reason that smokers feel oxygen deprivation and shortness of breath. Within about 10 seconds of smoking, the bloodstream carries a stimulant, nicotine, to brain, releasing dopamine and other neurotransmitters, including endorphins, creating a sensation which makes smoking highly addictive. Smoking can cause constriction of blood vessels, leading to thickness of the vascular membranes, causing clots to be formed, and thus triggering heart attacks and strokes. It can cause even mutation, leading to carcinogenic tendencies, and in women, it can lead to problems related to getting pregnant, and even weakening of bones. Now that you know the effects of smoking, and I know quitting isn't that easy, but there are ways like nicotine replacement therapies like gums, skin patches, lozenges, and sprays that can wean smokers to quit. Even counseling can help. So in the end, I would say cigarettes come with a statutory warning, but life doesn't. So you have to choose finally what you have to do in life. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Masuma, for your views. I would now ask Ms. Anam of class 11th to share her point. Over to Ms. Anam.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Eliminate tobacco from your life before it eliminates you from your life. As we all know that every year World No Tobacco Day is celebrated, and it is celebrated according to a theme. So this year, the theme of World No Tobacco Day is Commit to Quit. I'll repeat, commit to quit. But going through this process can be tough because smoking affects so many parts of our body. Nicotine withdrawal involves physical, mental, emotional, and behavioral symptoms. You'll have intense craving for a cigarette. You'll be angry, irritable, and restless. You'll have headaches and a cough. You'll be tired but won't be able to sleep. But hang in there. The worst of it lasts only a few weeks. When it ends, the nicotine will be out of your system. You'll be healthier than you have been in a long time. Before you quit, it's wise to have a plan for getting through these withdrawals. You'll have an easier time if you are mentally prepared and have some strategies for how to deal with your symptoms. During nicotine withdrawal, a person has cravings, restlessness and boredom, anxiety and depression, stress, headaches, cough, fatigue, digestive problems, weight gain. Cravings are the longest lasting and strongest withdrawal symptoms. They can start within 30 minutes of your final cigarette as the nicotine starts to wear off and your body wants more. Take it one step at a time. Try not to worry about how you'll get through the next few weeks. There are a lot of ways to outlast a craving, so it pays to keep a mental list of things you should do, like keep your mouth busy with the gum, hard candy, and crunchy food. Use nicotine replacement therapy like gum or the patch. Go for a walk or do some exercise when a craving hits. Head to a public place where you can smoke. Take deep breaths. Start a new routine for times when you usually smoke. Avoid triggers that make you want to smoke, like alcohol, caffeine, or people you know that they want to smoke. Remember why you quit. It's not that we cannot get rid of this addiction of tobacco. If we make our mind, then we can surely get rid of it. So today, on the occasion of World No Tobacco Day, let's promise that neither will ever get intoxicated, nor let others do so. Let's take a pledge to save lives. Say yes to life, say no to tobacco. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anam. So as Anam said, that it is difficult to quit smoking all at once, but not impossible. Finally, may I now request Ms. Bilkis of class 11th to shed some light on this burning topic. Over to Ms.
Assalamualaikum
Bilkis.
everyone. Assalamualaikum everyone. On this occasion of World No Tobacco Day, I would like to speak about tobacco industry negligence. Tobacco manufacturers need to be held responsible for the waste that their products create. The tobacco industry is responsible for producing much more than tobacco products. They are guilty of creating hundreds of thousands of pounds of cigarette and e-cigarette waste each year. Cigarette and e-cigarette waste present serious threats to the ecosystem and requires a long-term solution. Instead of accepting responsibility for their products, tobacco companies are using the environmental problems associated with tobacco products as a play for positive press attention. Some tobacco companies have included reducing the amount of cigarette butts in the environment as a part of their sustainability goals. For example, American Spirit continues its inspirational themed environmental messaging in 2021 with a new Stronger Together slogan and reformation of their goal to help recycle 500 million cigarette butts by 2025. And Philip Morris International claims its endeavors to reduce plastic litter from its products by 50% from 2021 to 2025 as part of its Our World is Not an Ashtray initiative. Campaigns like this are hypocritical and misleading to the public. The tobacco industry not only created this new waste stream in the first place, they are trying to cover up their harmful practices through misdirection and public displays of eco-activism. Some policies to protect the environment. Tobacco manufacturers need to be held responsible for the extreme amount of waste that their products create and to facilitate the environmental safe disposal of their products, both combustible and electronic. Strong local regulations coupled with financial penalties to reduce the amount of e-cigarette waste are needed to reduce the negative environmental consequences from their products, increasing consumers' awareness of the environmental toxicity and dangers posed by declaring cigarette and e-cigarette related waste into landfills and encouraging smokers and vapers to quit using their products altogether are the best ways to protect the environment from tobacco product waste. At last, I would like to conclude my speech with a quote: "Smoking is a habit that drains your money and kills you slowly. One puff after another, quit smoking and start living." Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bilkis. So with all said and done, we have come to the conclusion that smoking leaves an unseen scar. It fills your inside with toxins and tar. Now let's join our hands together and take a pledge of providing essential support to tobacco users to become tobacco free and begin the path to better health. Finally, I would like to thank you all for your patient hearing and making this event a success. This is all from me. Stay home, stay safe.